What up, y'all? This is the double AO Against All Odds podcast featuring your man Buckeye B coming to you live from the Buckeye Southwest, that is. And we
Yes,
talked
sir.
about a whole bunch of
Steve.
stuff today, man. What you got? What you got cooking for us, brother?
Buckeye B in the building. Double AO against our lives. We back for another one, man. You know what I'm saying? Been a busy, hectic week. You know, that daddy, big daddy mode, man. But you know, we back full effect. We here, man. It's been a crazy. Well, it's been a crazy world in sports. On a basketball tip, it's been a little, you know, this kind of like the dead period of sports, like summertime, man. The dog days of summer is what they call it, man. But we still got the finals going on, man. So it's definitely been an interesting time. It's been crazy, man. It's actually not what I expected with what, you know, what's transpiring in these finals, man. The Pacers, they came to play for sure, man. Shout out to Indiana Pacers, man, and what they've been doing, man, in these finals and just competing, man, and just making it a good finals. I ain't gonna lie, that first game, OKC jumped on their ass. But shit, what the hell Burton? That boy tough, man. He definitely, you know, hit that big shot to win the game. What's so crazy, that was their first lead of the game with 0.3 seconds left, man. So that game was good. The second game was pretty much a wash. I think once Indiana stole home court, they kind of figured like, man, let's go ahead and we got our game. If we get another one, cool. If not, we headed back to Indiana. And I actually thought OKC, you know, the way they jumped out in that game was going to kind of, you know, control the pace of the game. But shit, once again, man, the Pacers, man, they keep fighting. The bench, big boost from the bench, man, with TJ McConnell and Benedict Mathurin out of Arizona, man. He came to play. I think he had like 26 points, which was crazy, man. So the bench definitely helped give him a boost, gave him a lot of energy, and ultimately propelled them to victory, man. So we got the Pacers up 2-1, and it's getting interesting. Everybody's saying, the word around town is saying whoever wins this next game is going to win the series, which I think can possibly be true. OKC's still in it, you know what I'm saying? It happens. You in a 7-game series, you always want to stay even keel. You never want to be too high or too low. Stay even keel, and you know anything can happen in each game. It could change at any given moment, man. So it's like with OKC coming into this game 4, if they win, they got the momentum back. If the Pacers win, they up 3-1. All they need is one game to close it out, man. So it's gonna be interesting for sure. My prediction, I would say, I don't know, man. I still think OKC got a shot just because it's the better team. I think Indiana's the better coach team. So it's just gonna be who gives in first. I think Rick Carlisle's definitely been doing a hell of a job with his coaching, you know, experience and just definitely just, you know, identifying matchups and just identifying scheme and just kind of putting everything into play. You know, he got that experience with the Mavs, with him winning the title over there. I think he was the coach. Could be wrong, but I think he was the coach that year when they beat LeBron. I think he was the head coach against LeBron in that title with the Mavs. But yeah, Rick Carlisle's a hell of a coach, man. And then the coach for OKC, he kind of showing his inexperience, man, with changing all the lineups that he's doing. I mean, they had the best record in the NBA, and he just doing too much mixing and matching, man. He just need to just stick with what got him there, and then go with that. So my prediction, I don't know, it's tough, man. I'm gonna go here. I said OKC in 4. You see how much that lasted. So my predictions ain't been too good lately. So I don't want to jinx the Pacers, so I'm gonna stick with OKC because I really want the Pacers to win it, man. You know, it's technically kind of the home team, Midwest. You know, shout out to the Midwest in the building, Indianapolis. You feel me, Indiana. You know, not too far from the Buckeye, the Southwest, the 513. You know, as my boy Demo say. So I really want the Pacers to win. But I'm gonna just go ahead and stick with my original pick and fuck with them OKC boys, man. So, you know, what you think, Demo? How you feeling about these finals so far?
Yeah, I think they had. I think what's his name? Halliburton had made a shirt. What was the shirt that he made?
Did he?
I can't think of the phrase on it, but anyway, I have to go back to that. Rick Carlisle, he was the head coach 2011.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so but just saying about, I guess nobody kind of called it, you know, OKC's favor, and you just said with clean sweep. I heard a guy, and I've heard a couple people with this take now, but the first person I heard with the take was Dan Patrick, and he said that I guess it was after the game too, that and I forgot the average that OKC beat teams by this year, but basically his point was that they haven't been in a bunch of close fourth quarter games. Therefore, they don't really know how to act accordingly based on the strength of people always being ahead so far in the fourth quarter most of the time. So when Indy comes and plays it real close and they play it physical and they take a lot of that space that they're used to having, take it away from them. And what I mean by space, I mean by playing with a comfortable lead. That it's really kind of changed the dynamic of the team, and you're actually seeing a side of OKC that they might not even have saw themselves a whole lot this year. And I think it took a lot of people off, man. But I think that's an excellent point, you know, as far as regarding what you're seeing and, you know, why everybody's really kind of surprised. And I think it's mainly just them basing off how OKC played. And then you also know, man, pick a sport, professional sport, and tell me which one of them where the regular season and the postseason is the exact same kind of play, level of play, style of play, sophistication of play, preparation, and all these things, game plan, and all this stuff, man. So just ain't that to say, man, it's the postseason, and I think OKC has been exposed, if you will, for the point that he made. And like I said, now that a lot of people have heard that and have got to see this kind of take place over a period of games now. So I think it's great because, you know, they had it as, you know, being a dud finals from the rip, all of talking heads,
for sure,
the talking hairdos and the big pundits and people like that. So I never really saw it like that. And I go back to the tackle basketball, the Eastern Conference, especially, you know, a high level team like Indy that have the ability to, you know, basically lock down, put the clamp down, and take away a lot of your strengths. And I just believe that they're a well-formed team. So I'm not surprised. I don't have a dog in the hunt. You know what I mean? You know, team is farther up north where you just came from. But I'm glad that it's a good finals and it's something to see, because there's been this talk about the NBA dying and, you know, it's nothing to watch, and, you know, and it just go to show like that's the farthest thing from the truth right now, man. So both teams, I think, for at least 3 or 4 more years, you know what I'm saying, where they're at. So they're good to go.
Yeah, definitely. But the only thing about OKC is they're a young team, but some of them young superstars are coming up for contract. So is it going to be like the last OKC dynasty? Well, you can't really say dynasty, but the last OKC team where they had KD, Russ, and Harden, are they gonna learn from, I guess you could say, the mistake of breaking up that team? I don't know if it was a mistake, but I think they could have managed those players and contracts maybe a little better. I mean, we all know Harden wanted his money, and we all know ultimately what KD ended up doing, leaving. But Are they going to, they got another shot at managing, that a little better? I think this team is a little bit more, it's not as superstar driven. Obviously, you got SGA who's a superstar, for sure. But I think this team, as opposed to the team before, this team knows their role. I mean, I think SGA they kind of look at him as being the lead dog. And then you got Jalen Williams, and then you got Chet. You know what I'm saying? So I think this team is a little bit more manageable, but again, they're going to have to start paying people. So, it's going to be interesting. Are they going to be able to keep those others together? You know what I'm saying? The Carusos, who else is on the Aaron Wiggins, Hartensteins, those guys together to kind of make this team. Luke, you could throw Luke Dork in there too. Forgot about him. To make this team gel like it is, because they're definitely the best defensive team we've seen in a while. But it's gonna be interesting to see if they can stay together. I mean, I think they got like you said, maybe 2 or 3 more years. I don't know what the contract discrepancy is, but it's gonna be interesting. They definitely got to get one though. I mean, this if they was gonna get one, this would be the year, man. Because we're gonna talk about some free agency and some couple moves with KD and Giannis, and that's gonna really change the dynamic. Whether KD stays in the Western Conference, or he goes to the Eastern Conference, or same with Giannis. If Giannis comes to the Western Conference or stays in the Eastern Conference. So both of these teams, Indiana and OKC, really need to get one under their belt to cement the legacy. I mean, both teams been going at it for a minute, and they both deserve it. Like I said, I'm rooting for Indiana. I'm thinking OKC, but both teams definitely need to get this one, because it's not easy to get back. I mean, you take it for granted. Everybody thought, when the Celtics won last year, they gonna run off 3-4 straight. Now they talking about breaking up the team. You always an injury away from demise. You seen it with you even go back to the Heatles, like I used to call them, with Bron and D Wade, man. Shit, if D Wade stays healthy, I think they get more than 2 championships. They definitely should have won at least 3 or 4. I'm not gonna go on a rant how Bron did it, but with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but they at least should have won. They at least should have won 3. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, they played some tough teams, but with D Wade not being able to stay healthy, man, that kind of, when you top heavy with your team, that's why I kind of give OKC credit, because they're not as top heavy. You know what I'm saying? They have pretty much one superstar and then pretty much, 2 all-stars and then rest role players. So it's gonna be interesting, man, to see what happens. So I'm definitely gonna be tuned in tonight, and we gonna see how it rocks out for sure. But like I said, man, it's other than that, we can kind of switch over a little bit to kind of see, get your thoughts on the KD Giannis situation. But other than that, it's kind of been like dog days of summer. I don't know if you've been paying attention to Major League Baseball like that. It's been some things shaking and moving. I'm more or less a baseball bettor. I don't really even watch the games. I just bet on it. You know what I'm saying, and pay attention to the home runs and shit. But other than that, man, my Buckeyes, we kind of getting ready for this defending championship run. Hopefully we can run it back. And I got some some funny stories to tell you. I was up in Detroit, man. I took my O State shit up with me, man. I was O State head down to toe. You feel me? I had my national championship shit on. Hey, man, I did not know them niggas was crazy. Well, I underestimated them niggas, bruh. Them niggas go hard about the Wolverines up there. I walked not to get off topic, but my hotel was like by a gas station and shit. Me and my brother, we just walked over there to the gas station. So I had my old steak shit on. One nigga was at my neck. So we, it was all in friendly convo though. It wasn't nothing crazy to where my word. The nigga felt threatened, but we was popping shit. So I ended up leaving. I said what I had to say. He said what he had to say. Man, why this nigga get in the car? Followed me all the way to the hotel playing the Michigan fight song, bro. That shit had me tight, man. I had my kids with me too. I had them yelling, "O-H-I-O." He was like, "You trained them well," but he tried to drown me out with the fight song, man. So it was funny, man. But yeah, the Michigan boys up there, up in that state up north, man. They go hard about the Wolverines. So this year is
they would tune in, right? Yeah.
Man, you feel me? Shit was crazy, bro. Like they really, cause I told them, I said at this point, shit, we the world famous, but we the national champs, baby. That Michigan game. They was like, nah, you don't believe that. You would rather beat Michigan than win a national championship. And I was like, fuck y'all, fuck Michigan. At this point, you know what I'm saying? I told them y'all up on us right now, but y'all never get 9 in a row. You know what I'm saying? We got 9 in a row on that ass, but I was all in friendly fun, man. I had a good time up in that state up north, man. My kids was geeking, to kind of see. We didn't really get to see the Michigan Stadium because that's I don't know if it's either west or east, but it's in Ann Arbor, so it's not even. It don't have nothing to do with Detroit because that's where I was, by the way, but. It was fun. It was a fun time for sure, man. So yeah, man, that's my little story time with Buckeye B.
Hey man, big up to the niggas in the D, man. Just everybody, period.
Yeah.
It get a bad rap. Like all they ever show or talk about forever was just the negative part, and there's some negative shit going on. I ain't gonna try to shit, but. I never had no problems. I've walked the streets of Detroit, man.
Right.
Niggas ain't never showed me nothing but love. I've never had
that's a fact.
None of them niggas, man. They always embraced me. I was fortunate to be with some people who originated from Cincinnati, and then their moms and pops and them and aunts and uncles moved up to Detroit. You know what I'm saying? Before they was born or when they was real young, man. So they had natty love. You know what I mean? And just organically, but. The people that they was introduced to and came in contact with, I have seen some wild shit though. I ain't gonna lie. It's going down in Detroit. But the one great thing that I always realized about it, man, right from the rip was the whole city is the hood, bro. It's not like
man.
Yeah, it's the whole city, bro.
It is.
It's a different type of flow if you ain't been there. And I got to go back to what I always say since the inception of the AAO show. Here to this Midwest region and what's happening here in these United States. You need to come fuck with some of these cities because each one that you fuck with makes you want to ride an hour and a half, 3 hours down the road to go fuck with the next one and the next one because they very.
That's a fact.
Yeah, and they offer a lot of love and a lot of culture and a lot of shit, a lot of history, man. So say that to say, man, when I say certain things, like when I say Ohio built America, when I say, you talking about the steel industry, you talking about it really fueled that whole last, what they call the industrial revolution, man. So I'm just saying, man, a lot of stuff go back to, some of these core states, man, when you talk about college level athletes and, producing athletes, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Minnesota, definitely Florida, California, but these little cluster states, man, they right up there at the top, man, in most of every game that's out there. So yeah, big up to the D, everybody up there. I got my partner that my brother, man, a couple of years ago just passed, man. So Father's Day coming up, man. I know a lot of heads is gonna be, hanging low for that brother, man. He's a great guy, man. One of the greatest men I've ever known, man. And lost his life early, man. It's a shame. He left behind a beautiful family and a bunch of people that loved him, man. So I know you had fun up there, man. It's been a long time since I've been up there. I've heard they've done a lot of renovations.
You gotta, we're gonna talk off air, but You gotta get back. They got some cereal milk, a bunch of cereal milk up there for you, brother.
Yeah, and Detroit, I don't know, they was always known for the gear. You couldn't make it to New York City, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I ain't get to tap into that, but
Detroit
you
was
know,
a big move, man. So
nah, that's a fact.
yeah,
That's a fact. Now they
Black,
definitely, you know,
Black City, love it.
nah, for sure. You know, we kind of got some of our swag from the D, man. Motherfuckers won't admit it, but you know, the D kind of we get the lingo and the way we dress from them, you know. So
Hey, well,
you
and
know,
just another little side note, I don't mean to jump in on you, man, but you know, in the '80s, Detroit cats did a lot of migrating south into some of these smaller cities in Ohio, and so Ohio maybe not doesn't really get the recognition that's accurate as far as what it is, you know, on the street level that I'm talking about, man. A lot of these smaller towns in Ohio is one. I've been, you know, a lot of Springfield. A lot of these cats migrated down and, you know, brought a lot of that shit into the O. So I'm just saying, in the '80s, when shit got too hot for the boys up there, they came on down here. So just saying, Detroit, Michigan, Ohio, we've been fucking with each other. We right next to each other. We've been fucking with each other for a long time. That rivalry shit you talking about, man, it was always just gonna be in good, clean love, fun, and shit like that, man.
I see where it stemmed from, bro. And that shit crazy up there, man. Like, I ain't realize how them niggas get down, but if you know, you know. You feel me? So, it definitely was a good time, man. I definitely was able to kick it with family, man, and some much needed getaway time. Even though it was a quick trip, but still was a good time, man, for sure. Shouts out to the D. What up, though? But yeah, man. So what up? Yeah, facts. But other than that, man, what I guess we can kind of, we can kind of go into your thoughts of where you think
Kevin Durant. You mentioned Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Like, what is our teams beating down the door to get Kevin Durant on their team, and what has the Kevin Durant?
I don't know if they beating down the door
really produced up to this point.
I'm hearing it. Right. I'm hearing, a few teams out there that got interest. I'm hearing he's gonna be traded in the next week or so. So if the teams the top teams, I guess I think they said Houston, Minnesota, the Knicks, and the Spurs. So the best destination to me, well, I got two teams I think he should go to. I would want to see him. All those teams aren't bad that I named, by the way, but I think the Knicks and the Spurs would be my best destinations for him. I like KD to the Knicks, man. That'll turn them up. That'll get them another option. Obviously, they'll probably have to put Cat in that deal, but I'd rather see KD than Cat on the Knicks. I mean, obviously they might lose a little bit of size on the inside, but they still got Mitchell Robinson. So KD to the Knicks is a good one, and then I wouldn't mind seeing with the Spurs and him, being a mentor to Victor. I mean, they kind of different players in a way, similar a little bit, in the way they able to stretch the floor and handle the ball and shoot. But Wemby's he's definitely a unicorn, man. I definitely never seen nobody like him before. But I like those two teams, man. I think I can see, probably the Knicks being a favorite. I wanted him to see him go to the Knicks the first time, but he decided to go to Brooklyn and team up with Kyrie and Harden, which figured that didn't. Well, I didn't figure it. I didn't think it was going to be a wash like how it was, but I'd rather him go to New York the first time then, but he, like you said, decided to go to Brooklyn. So, what you think? You think, with them teams, Houston, Minnesota, New York, and the Spurs. And Minnesota, dark horse. Don't count out Minnesota, but I just don't know if, with him and Ant, I don't know. That don't mesh right to me, my personal opinion.
Hey, so I just clicked over. Let me come back to you, man, so I can share the screen with you. And James Foglio, Foglio, Basketball Insiders. Kevin Durant trade rumors. 5 teams have expressed interest in future Hall of Fame, and I'll just roll right down here to who they are. And San Antonio, the Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs, Miami Heat, Minnesota Timberwolves, and New York Knicks.
Oh yeah, Miami. I forgot about Miami.
Did you mention all these other ones though?
What'd you say?
Houston Rockets, San Antonio.
Mention them.
We didn't mention the Heat, but we just now did. Minnesota Timberwolves and New York Knicks.
Yep. I had everybody except for the Heat.
Huh. Yeah, man. Why NBA teams should not trade for Kevin Durant? What do you think about that, man? I kind of hinted at that early on.
I mean, he's an older player, and it's like that's the only reason I would say with him just having I mean, you can't really say he has too much mileage because technically he didn't play for 2 years because of injury. But just because he's an older player, he don't have the same explosiveness as he had, when he was with OKC and Golden State. But he's still a walking bucket, man. He's still a Durantula to me. You know what I'm saying? He's still gonna give you 25 plus night in and night out, and he gonna give you a bucket when fourth quarter time, when it's winning time. He definitely gonna step up to the plate and do his thing. So that's why I say he fits with New York, because Brunson, man, they relied on him for everything. He's so small. It got him through all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, but when Indiana kept throwing all them bodies at him, bro, he just got tired. So if they would have had KD in that series, and shouts out to Cat, definitely proved me wrong in some ways. He definitely played a hell of a series, but Cat's not a player that you gon', when it's winning time, Cat, go get us a bucket. Nah, they was relying on Brunson too much, and I think with KD being on that team, you get out the way and let 3-5 go to work, man. And I think the Knicks are in the best position for his services. You know what I'm saying? With the team they already have. Now, ultimately, they're gonna have to find a head coach. I mean, I don't know why they fired Tibbs. That's another big topic as well. You fire Tibbs, but you don't have a plan in place to have a coach to hire. I mean, I guess they felt like the coaches that they wanted to go after was going to be willing to, be able to talk, but they was all declined to talk. They tried to go after Ime Udoka from the Rockets. They tried to go after a couple college coaches. I think it was Dan Hurley and what's the guy's name? Jay Wright. He's retired though. Old coach from Villanova. Dan Hurley, he's from UConn. And then it was another coach I can't think of offhand, but they declined. They declined to talk, man. So I'm hearing names, Sam Cassell, Mark Jackson. I don't know if Mark Jackson's still interested in coaching. It's been a minute since he's been in the coaching realm. He should have been got a job. Tibbs don't get me wrong, Tibbs, he's definitely one of those coaches where he runs his players on the ground, but he was kind of the best coach for that team and that culture and what they have and what they bring to the table. And for you just to fire him, I'm still mind boggled at that. What did you think about that whole Tom Thibodeau firing?
Yeah,
do you think it was deserved?
I thought, let me go back for a second just to touch on something that you brought up, and so I don't want to forget it. This guy right here on this article, he talks about Kevin Durant, the Knicks not in the mix for Kevin Durant. That they not, what is it? Well, they will not be dealing for the future Hall of Famer, New New York had interest in signing Durant when he was free agent with the Golden State Warriors in 2019 of the Knicks pursuit. Anyway, so that right there, I'm hearing that they don't want him. I've heard that just before I read this article. Now I'm also hearing as far as the coach thing. Before I was hearing that Mike Brown is the leading candidate now for the Knicks job, which give me a second to say you can respond to that because I was waiting for you to mention him. And I don't know if you forgot.
I was about to mention him.
Did you already hear it, or did you was just gonna?
Yeah, I heard that.
Oh, okay.
No, I heard that.
But I heard another guy. I listen to a lot of sports radio. I heard another guy talk about that was James Dolan being away from the team for so long, doing other things, and now coming back and being in the fold and listening to what his players were saying about Thibodeau. And this was a rumor, and it's essentially what led him to being fired, like a rash decision. Wasn't well thought out. It was jumped the gun on some stuff, and really because of what you said about the culture that Thibodeau created over the last 5 years or whatever. Saying that to say, you know what? This is what I think. Personally, my own personal opinion on that is he's one of those coaches, kind of like a Jim Harbaugh, where he's great when he comes in, but after, so long, like his shit runs his course, his message falls deaf, and it's time for him to move on. So I think he got like a 5 or 6 year. I don't know how long he coached for the Bulls, but he seems like one of those coaches to me that, I don't want to say he can only get you so far, but
that's a fact.
Seems like he's locked into his style of coaching, and he doesn't want to.
You definitely on point with what you're saying, and I'm not saying he was ultimately the long-term guy for the job, but here's the thing. Last year, you give him a 3-year extension.
Right, that's stupid.
The next year, he leads you to the Eastern Conference Finals. So how do you get fired? You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like the team got worse. I just think New York, they're kind of like the Bengals in a way, bro. And I hate to bring the Bengals to this situation, but they just a disgruntled organization, bro. Like, they don't know how to figure shit out. Like, they do bad business, bro. It's crazy. So to say Mike Brown's the lead candidate, so you fire Thibodeau to go to Mike Brown, where's the upgrade? They kind of like the same type of coach. They gonna get you there, but they not gonna get you over the top. And that's what Mike Brown's done his whole career. He gets you there, but he don't get you over the top. He had LeBron. Then he went to Sacramento. And they had a small run, but they didn't do anything. So I think the Mike Brown would kind of just be like, well, we struck out with all who we thought we was gonna get, and we had to settle for Mike Brown. But that's my point. There was no need to fire Thibodeau so fast. They showed too much of a sense of urgency to fire him. They should have just kept him and just got a plan in place and then let him go. I mean, why did they feel like, my question would be, why did you feel like it was so urgent for you to fire him so fast? He went to the Eastern Conference Finals. He took you to the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, this Knicks team, nobody thought this Knicks team was a finals or a championship team before the season. If you asked me before the season, was the New York Knicks a championship contender? I wouldn't have said yeah. I mean, they had pieces, but nobody thought the Knicks was about to go to the finals or even have a chance of winning the final. At least I didn't. Maybe I'm wrong, D-Mo. Did you?
I did. I know. I didn't even think about it because they've been so far out of contention. They never even crossed my mind into that. Well, let me say this though. One thing that I also did was I listened to a lot of sports radio. I just said that, but to the cotton fields this morning, I heard that about Mike Brown, and then I think they might have touched on this earlier on in the episode. And I heard this before, but Thibodeau, I think, played college ball with Jalen Brunson's father, and because they were so tight that Jalen Brunson's father had way too much influence or say so, and it was through Thibodeau is the one that was giving him that leash. So in order to cut that back, I guess it was causing some problems, internally with other members of the team or whatever. So saying that to say, man, there's always gonna be that kind of stuff, man, big personalities and stuff. But I did hear that.
No, for sure. I mean, I didn't hear. I heard from a standpoint that the players kind of want him ultimately being a coach, but I agree with. I don't agree with most of what Stephen A. always says, but he had a good point. You know what I'm saying? He said, "You give him one more year." He said, "Look, you got one more year to fix this. You got us to the Eastern Conference Finals. If we add a piece like KD or whoever we decide to add, let's see what you can do, and then we fire you or move forward with you after next season." You know what I'm saying? But to fire him immediately after the season, just because he lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, and it was a competitive Eastern Conference Finals at that, wasn't like he got swept. He was one game away from going to the finals. That game one hurt them. If they win game one, if they don't allow Indiana to come back in that game one, they win that series hands down. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand the urgency to fire him that fast. Like, it made no sense. Like, I was shocked, to be honest. So I don't know where the Knicks move forward here. I think they kind of, I don't see the Knicks. I mean, unless they add a big piece, I don't see them making it back to the Eastern Conference Finals, let alone what their ultimate goal is, the finals and ultimately NBA championship. Like, I think they fucked their team, to be honest. So we'll see. It's always an interesting time, especially in NBA free agency and what happens this summer. So, we'll see what happens, man. But I don't agree with that firing and the way they handle business and the way they're going about trying to find their next head coach for sure.
Kick that topic around, man. It might not be breathing anymore, man. So we'll get that a rest. Now that you brought up Giannis though, a few minutes back, and I just was flipping through on some of the feeds that I have, and they said something about him hinting on social media that he was just gonna stay where he was at, stay put.
I think that's the best way. That's the best way for him. Like, I don't see him. Like I said, unless it's the Spurs. Where could Giannis go to make a true impact? You need to stay where he at. They need to build the team around him. You can't put Giannis with, you could put him ultimately with another superstar, but I don't think he's that type of player, bro. Like, he has to be the main attraction. You know what I'm saying? You definitely can't put him with LeBron. You may could put him with Steph, because, Steph, he's sharp shooter, but I don't see the Warriors going after Giannis. But yeah, great take, man. Definitely need to stay with Milwaukee. That's my personal opinion. I was hoping he would do that. Now obviously we don't know what Dame's future is going to be, but I didn't even think that was a good pickup when they got Dame at the time. I mean, just really didn't mesh well. It broke up the chemistry of the team, because the Bucks kind of reminded me of what OKC is doing with, we have one main superstar and we got an all-star, and then we got a bunch of role players that's gonna come together and do their thing. I mean, there was no reason for them to go out and get Dame. I guess they kind of got greedy and thought, well, we won a championship. We got a championship under our belt, so let's kind of see where we go with it with Dame. So maybe that was the case. But I think they just need to go back to the original what they did with the team before when they first got Giannis, to kind of just build around him. I know he's an older player, but I think if they, maybe add an all-star and some key role players around him, they'll be contenders back in the East again for sure.
Hey, so I said I wanted to leave the Knicks, but I guess I wanted to bring up the Dallas Mavericks, man, and them possibly having this new guy and Jason Kidd. I was hearing that he was a candidate for the Knicks.
Oh, and that was the other coach they said that they didn't give him permission to talk to the Knicks.
Well,
So you can probably, unless you heard something different. But I heard he was denied access to talk to the Knicks by the organization, by Dallas.
yeah, so I mean, apparently the word is now that according to the same guy, Foglio on Basketball Insiders, that he's going to stay. He's going to stay. Mavericks believe that he'll be staying in Dallas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, is that
They
true?
won't.
Is Jason Kidd like at this
Yeah.
get his feet?
Yeah, I like Jason Kidd. No, I love Jason Kidd because he's a player's coach. I think he was actually on that coaching staff when the Lakers won the title in the bubble. I kind of ultimately thought the Lakers were gonna end up, hiring him as the head coach when they fired Vogel. But I like him as a coach. I mean, he's a he's a player's coach. Like I said, he's a former point guard, and the best player on that team is the point guard, Kyrie Irving. So, I mean, ultimately, I think it's a great match with Kyrie and Jason Kidd. So I think Dallas, they got some, with them having the first pick is still crazy in my eyes. Him adding potentially Cooper Flag with AD and Kyrie, that's gonna be a sight to see, man. With those bigs and Lively and Gafford, everybody was on your boy Nico about trading Luka, which I still think he shouldn't have, but it changed in one instant. It changed by one, with the lottery balls, pause. But if they ultimately end up getting Cooper Flag, like I think they will, that's gonna change, put that franchise right back in the right direction for sure. Not to say they got, not to say they was going, they just dealt with some injuries later in the season. Like Kyrie got hurt, AD got hurt, so just kind of went south after that trade. But I think this year coming up, they're gonna be nice.
All right, man. Well, we can we can maybe switch to a little bit of NFL if you got a few more minutes. I'm gonna hold you too much longer, man.
Shador, man.
Get into that.
No. Shador has definitely been doing his thing, man. For sure. I mean, we all knew see, that's why it's frustrating right now to kind of talk about NFL, because it's like, it's just so much bullshit going on, bro. Like, we know Shador shouldn't have got drafted as late as he is. We know what type of player he is, and we know what type of leader he is. He's showing you in minicamp right now, and even before minicamp, rookie camp. Came right in, made his presence known, and just doing his thing, man. And I think ultimately, man, if the Browns don't hold him back, he should be starting week 1. Pretty sure they're probably gonna start Flacco, but Shador has shown what he's done in minicamp. I mean, we still got training camp to come in the next month or so. So it's still gonna be interesting to see, if he can keep up the momentum of what he's doing. But I'm proud of him, man. I'm proud of him, and I'm proud of Travis, man. Travis showing his thing, doing his thing in Jacksonville. He's showing what he can do at DB, and he's showing what he can do at receiver. But with Shador, man, I'm proud of the young bull, man. He doing his thing. And the notion to say that it was just a bunch of BS, man. The NFL did. He wasn't prepared for meetings, and that was bullshit. So I'm rooting for Shador, man. Shouts out to him, Coach Prime, the whole crew, and we're gonna see where it goes, man. Unfortunately, we let him go to but unfortunately, he's in the AFC North. So we gotta play. The Bengals gotta play him twice a year. So we see what happens, man. But I'm definitely rooting for Shador. Now the Bengals, on the other hand, the Bengals are Bengaling. If that's a statement, man, it just can't get right with. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way, but just the organization, man, gotta step it up. You did your due diligence with T and Jamal. Took you a couple years to figure that shit out. Now you don't want to get right on the defensive end. You sign your draft pick. Obviously, he's not happy, and then you ultimately got Trey Hendrickson to sign. So I don't know what they doing, man. Still the verdict still out to see, man. We still got some time, a couple months before shit kicks off. So we'll see what happens, man. What you thinking on that tip?
Yeah, I mean, you said it all. I don't even understand what happened with the draft. It must have went really bad quickly.
Right.
Then the Trey Hendrickson, man, it's the same as they step on their own feet the same way. Same foot steps on the same other foot.
Right.
It's the same way. If you was not going to keep him, then you should have got rid of him when you could have got a higher value. You could have got some picks. You could have got some other things that you need. Now you're stuck in a position where you got this whole thing dragging out in the public. And I mean, there's teams that are interested, and this is what the Bengals do, man. I don't know if they're trying to drive the price down so much, but to say that this man's not worth paying is foolish. Yeah, so the way that they're bargaining, it just seems that it's just upside down, man. Especially the same critique you just made about signing all the high-powered receivers. Okay, we can score, you know what I'm saying, but we can't stop nobody. You know what I mean? So,
exactly.
And so we're gonna be in these same kind of high-powered, scoring shootout games that we lose. It's gonna come down to some close situation scenario where it's never favorable to the Bengals. So, yeah. So Bengals is the word. You know what I mean? And they're probably gonna continue to do that even when Mike Brown is totally out of the picture, because he's this next era of Bengal fiduciaries, man. They've been trained in the art of the fiddle faddle fuckery, man. That's all it is. It's the fiddle faddle fuckery, man. You're like, you doing all this shit, but you ain't moved nowhere. You ain't went nowhere.
Hey, that shit funny, man. He said the fiddle faddle fuckery. Damn.
Yeah. You know these motherfuckers. You see them every day up there in the fields and shit, man. The fiddle all day long, ain't got shit done. All that action, all that activity, motherfucker. What you done? What has it got to show for? So, yeah.
No, that's a fact.
Yeah, this is the same type of thing with the Bengals, and it is a lot of shit going on, man. Even with the other thing I heard just on the NFL tip, real quick, a different direction, but Antonio Brown, they got him. He on the run right now for murder, attempted murder. Did you hear about his situation a month ago? That
yeah, I'm saying it, but I ain't really pay too much into it, because they say AB they say he gone off the hinges, bro. But I mean, I kind of seen the video on what happened. I mean, I guess he can claim self-defense. I don't know how it's gonna go with him. I didn't know he took the security guard's gun. Basically, he got into a scuffle. Motherfucker tried to take his chain, and I guess he ended up grabbing the security guard's gun, chasing the dude down, and bust a couple shots at him. So I don't know the dynamics what that would be, if that's considered self-defense or what. But they definitely said he was the victim initially, and then he kind of flipped it to where he was like, "Fuck y'all niggas." You feel me? I ain't playing. I ain't coming to play. I ain't about to try to threaten me. Basically threatened me with a good time. So shit, he bust a couple shots at him. So I don't know what the dynamics of that would be. So we'll see. I mean, you know how that shit is though, man. I fuck with AB though. Shouts out to AB, man. But he just got a lot going on with, he definitely went from sugar to shit. Unfortunately, he was a hell of a player, but like that off the field shit definitely overwhelmed you for sure. But it's Antonio Brown. They're gonna try to make it a story. They're gonna try to they always, like the media always do, they build you up just to tear you down, man. So that's kind of the case in what this situation is. So like I said, I don't know the dynamics of what would be considered self-defense, attempted murder, blah blah blah. But from my understanding, it was a person trying to take his chain, and he kind of just reacted in, I guess, a self-defense way. I don't know if the shooting of the gun was warranted, but that's kind of where we at with it right now. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I heard about it initially, and I guess they did have him out as the victim because they, I don't say they dropped it, but they didn't pursue any charges against him. But then they did and say it's attempted murder. And apparently, the one detail that I didn't get the first time, and they're saying that this is the reason why, is because the situation initially was de-escalated, and then 2 minutes later is when he came back after the guy. And then firing at him, and then he actually hit the guy. I think he just grazed him, but he did hit him. So I think that part is what makes it attempted murder versus a self-defense type of thing. But I don't. That's just that's out there on the wire. I can't confirm any of that stuff, man. But
right.
A lot of people, that anytime his name comes up, and this came up a lot here lately since his fall from grace has been a tremendous fall, quick fall too, but. A lot of people credit that, that final kind of pushing him over the limit to that one, I guess a couple games, but specifically the Vontaze Burfict hit where he just
everybody saying that boy got CTE now, especially, Pacman on his ass, boy. He back Pacman, he don't fuck with AB for whatever reason. I can't remember exactly what they, cause I think at the time they was cool, but now they kind of just, guess he don't fuck with AB no more. I guess AB had put his number out on social media or some shit, some crazy shit. But Pacman he's definitely an advocate of him having CTE, and I wouldn't be surprised, man.
Hey, but he
AB
flipped
took
that,
some
though.
hits.
He flipped that real quick.
He definitely flipped in a good way.
Made it part of his show now. Motherfuckers be calling.
Nah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Pacman definitely flipped it. But Pacman got to stay out the way too, man. He need to stay out the way. Shouts out to Pac though, man. Smell me.
Did he just get caught up with something like a DUI or something?
Nah, I think it was. I don't know if it was a DUI. I think he had got into a scuffle with the boys. I think it was public intoxication. They said he was. You know how Pacman get, man. He just like to have a good time. He liked to have a good time, and then I guess something happened to where the cops be on bullshit with Pacman. I've always been on bullshit with Pacman. And Pacman, he ain't no sucker, so shit, he probably gave him a piece of his mind and just kind of went from there. So, I don't really know the details of everything, but I know it was like some public intoxication type of deal. I don't know if he was drunk and belligerent, but that's kind of what the narrative was of the whole situation.
Oh shit, he was over there in Covington, KY, man. He was fucking around.
He stay in KY. You gotta stay from over there. They some dickheads.
It's cheaper to live over there. Yeah. The recent arrest of Pacman Jones in Covington, Kentucky is yet another example of overzealous policing and the systemic issues that plague our justice system. Adam did nothing wrong other than exercise his right to ask why he was being detained. Initially, officers claimed he was being arrested for assault and then shifted to public intoxication, which in itself is not a crime in many jurisdictions unless it leads to dangerous behavior, and finally settled on the disorderly conduct simply for asking why he was being detained. So he'll beat that.
Nah, for sure.
He doesn't fuck with all his Miranda rights and shit like that. But that's what they do, man. And even with the little young kid that they shot up a couple weeks back, man, they make up shit. Like, after they don't act, they'll be like ready, fire. The motherfuckers, they try to create lies and shit to cover up the story, but most of the time, shit don't get up, man. And we just ain't powerful enough to challenge him on it. But he is, though. He got a little bit of chels saved up somewhere doing okay.
Nah,
he'll beat that, man. And yeah, it's rough over there in KY, and it's rough over here in the Natty too, man. So I don't know, man. You got anything else, man? Did you give us an update on them damn Buckeyes, or is there anything to update?
Not really. We just kind of getting in the mix of kind of just getting the camps out the way, the recruiting camps, the youth camps, Then, you know, we gonna get to it here soon, shortly for fall ball, man. I think fall ball probably gonna kick off in probably next 2 or 3 weeks. So they, you know, the big thing is who's gonna be the starting quarterback. Like I said, I think Julian Sands got the upper hand, and we'll see. We'll see if it falls in line. I'm hoping it goes that way. I think he's the best guy for the job with the personnel that we have and with the receivers that's came back, and you know it's gonna be interesting, man. But yeah, not really too much in Buckeye land, you know, other than me trying to get some goddamn tickets to that Texas game. So hopefully we can make that happen and go from there.
White still had a crust in your eye for that game.
Man, tell me about it. Tell me about
World
it.
famous is back.
Yes, sir.
Buckeye
Right.
B. South.
Yes, sirski.
Finest. I like that hat, brother. Man, what? You ain't got nothing
Appreciate
else,
you.
man. You give your shouts out to anybody you want to shout out to, man, or you can take us out of here.
Man,
Drop
just, you know.
Michael Jackson spin out this mouth. Go ahead.
You feel me? You know, Buckeye be in the building. Shouts out my boy D-Mo. You feel me? Pugilis Prop Bets, Pugilis Sports Radio. You know, we here. You feel me? We just kicking knowledge, kicking, politicking. You feel me? Southwest 513, that is, you know. But yeah, man, shouts out to you, man. For sure.
Same to you, my brother. Hey,
Yes, sir.
Catch up on next time, bro.
All right. Yes, sir.
One.
All right.